All right, everyone, my name is Ryan. Welcome to my analytics channel. So in a case study today, I want to take a look and see how we can manipulate Microsoft Excel using nothing but Python commands. So there's a few libraries that allow us to interact with Excel directly from Python with OpenPyXL and XLWings. That's what we're going to focus on today. I think there's a handful of others, but these two are sufficient to do what I want to do and showcase the potential here today. So Excel is really the front end. In this example for data entry for reports, it's a fantastic tool. It's great for so many different things. Python also is great for a whole bunch of different things. I think you really have to use the right tool for the job. Excel is better than Python for certain things, and vice versa. Python is far superior to Excel in certain other things, right? But again, I think you need to use the right tool for the job. And I think it is pretty interesting how you can use Python to control Excel, right? So if you spend most of your day programming Python scripts or, just tinkering around in Python doing whatever you need to do, and you don't really want to exit that environment, but you need to do a few things in Excel, you can set up scripts to do that, right? Especially if you're creating reports for key stakeholders or doing some type of automation tasks for your colleagues and your coworkers, Python will allow you to do that seamlessly and easily, okay? So there's a few different things that I want to go over just before we jump into it. The layer can be Excel automation, Python, and Excel access and how they interact with each other, Excel file manipulation, and even AI integration. We're not really going to touch on that too much now. I have several other videos on my channel about that. I'm not going to get into it right now with Excel. The tools are VBA macros, XLWings, OpenPyXL, and if we do venture into the AI realm, ChatGPT and Copilot are perfect for these types of asks. The purpose overall is to create different functionality in Excel using Python scripts. We're going to run Python directly in an Excel context, right? So we're almost like we are in Excel, controlling Excel from itself, but we're actually in a different environment. We're actually in Python running all of these scripts and these different pieces of logic, and the code completion and compilation and doc generation is all going to be done dynamically and instantaneously right in front of you. So I have some basic scripts right here. I have an Excel path. I want to go ahead and create my first file in this spot right here. So this is where everything is going to sit. So I see users Ryan underscore desktop / Excel. Okay, so everything is going to go into that. So I go ahead and run this. I'm going to first create a basic data frame, and I do this all the time in all my videos. I've got over 400 videos on my site now, or on my channel, whatever. So creating data frames is something I do pretty much in most of these videos, most if not all. So we're going to create a basic data frame and then copy and paste that into Excel and see what that looks like. So Control Enter to run all the code in this cell right here in my Jupyter notebook. We have order ID, date, region, channel, quantity, unit price, and revenue, right? So nothing fancy here, pretty straightforward. I want to go ahead and create an Excel Copilot demo.xlsx. That's going to be the name of the file. It's going to take everything from the from this data frame that I just created right here. Control F. You can see the data frame is right there, right? And that is going to go into the Excel file right after we create the file. So the first thing is create the file right here. Okay, and again, it's going to sit into this folder. It's going to sit in this folder right here. Okay, there's the order sample CSV. We just created the CSV. So if I go ahead and open that, you'll see basically exactly the same thing that you saw in the data frame in the form of a CSV. So we have order ID, date, region, channel, quantity, unit price, and revenue. And we start with 114 over here, and the order ID is 01 quadruple 0, right? And that's what we see right here. So that is fine. That's working totally fine, just like I would expect it to. So we can also go ahead and load data into the data sheet and format the the data as an Excel table. So one thing that's very popular in Excel is to take a data set and create a table out of that, and then you can do all kinds of cool and interesting things on the table, creating power pivots, pivot table, filtering, all kinds of different features that you have available when the data set is formatted as a table or as a data type as a table, right, then you can do a bunch of things in Excel that you couldn't do if the data type was not a table. So again, I'm going to go ahead, create headers, fill alignment, creating this table. It's going to have the look and feel of an Excel table. If you don't know what that looks like, I'll just show you real quick just before I actually do the thing over here. So let me reopen this file. If you've been using Excel for any amount of time, any significant amount of time, you've probably seen this before. Over to the right, down, insert table, and where's it over here? Recommended table, or wait, oh, formula, data, table, formula. Oh, I haven't even done this in a while. I'm getting, oh, table, here it is. That's what I thought. Okay, so create the table, and then we have actual headers, right? So there it is. So that's what we're going to see. I'm not going to save this. It's just going to be pure CSV file. Even if I did save it, it's just going to come back as a CSV, right? So the CSV file has no formatting whatsoever. I just created the table, saved it too, and it's going to come back just as basic text. That's not formatted, right? That's what we saw originally. It looks like an Excel file, right? Because it's packaged up as a CSV. But if I change the extension to TXT, you would see this is literally just a text file. And when you open it, it kind of has the look and feel of an Excel file, right? But it really is not an Excel file. So let me close that, put that away, go back to CSV. That's what we had before. Okay, just change the extension and that will be updated. Okay, so that's good. So we're going to go ahead and go ahead at this point and create an XLSX file based on the length of the data frame. So this is length data frame, right? Data frame is the data object that we just created, and it's going to go into that same spot as before, right? Here's the path, and this file is going to be converted from a CSV file to an XLSX file. So this is a typical Excel file with no macros, right? If you create an XLSX file and put a macro in there, try to save it, the macro will actually be stripped out, right? Because XLSX files cannot have macros in them, right? So there's no VBA. If you want to create a macro-enabled workbook, you have to create either an XLSB, which is a binary file, or XLSM. The M stands for macros. Okay, so if I hit Alt F11 over here, you can see this is pretty much a standard Excel file, but no macro is inserted into that yet. We're going to do that in just a minute here. Okay, so yeah, so we have the data frame, we have the XLSX, and we have the formatted data set as a table in Excel. Now, at this point, we can go ahead and use OpenPyXL to get Python to create a macro in the XLS file. Actually, no, that's the next step. We're going to do data model dashboard first and some basic aggregation. Okay, so here's the sum, count, and I want to do aggregation here, and then sort values in ascending equals false, so descending order by revenue. So let me hit Control Enter to run this, and I'll go back and open up the file, and we'll see what it looks like over here. Okay, so demo right here, and we have to go to, I think this is called region. We create a new tab over here. Here's the original table with the data model. Okay, so it's called model. If you go back here, so the worksheet name was models with an S, right? Worksheet name is models, right? And this is going to contain data aggregated by order ID, counting to order ID, summing the quantity, and summing the revenue. So if you spend any time in Excel or Python or R or SQL Server or something like this to do these counts, we're getting counts of orders right here. So there's the count, right? The quantity is being summed, and here is the revenue also being summed. And if you wanted to do this a little bit manual over here, you could go to Insert Data or Pivot Table from range. Here's my range. I'm going to put that on the new worksheet. And we have order ID down here. So that is going to be the row. The column is going to be, what do we say over here? Order quantity revenue. Okay, so order quantity revenue. Let me put these next to each other. Stretch this up just a little bit. Okay, order quantity revenue. Quantity is going to be the value down here. Revenue. And what was the other one we were looking at? Let me go back there. Orders. Okay, so orders. And I think we could do orders over here, and this is going to be a count of orders, right? And the sum of quantity and the sum of revenue. So that should pretty much see what look like what you see here. Oh, they're doing region, right? Okay, so I have to get to region. Sorry, order ID is out, region is in. So we have Midwest, Northwest, Southwest, and I think we're doing sort by revenue in descending order. That's what it looks like over here, right? So if I go sum of revenue, over here, I can go there. Whoops, let me select this. And is it gonna let me do this or not? Not right. Wait, was there another way to do that though? I'm trying to think how to sort this. Data, is it gonna let me do this or not? Nope, I don't think so. That is disabled. Sort, oh wait, here we go, here we go. Oh, it's turned off, right, because that's a pivot table. So anyways, if I don't think you can do that in the pivot, but if I do control, base special, values over here, values, okay, and then I should be able to do it pretty easy. And I'm going to sort in descending order by sum of revenue. All right, so sum of revenue, smallest to largest. I want largest to smallest, right? That's descending, and we should have the same thing. So 27, 5, 4 northeast. Oh, maybe it was. Let me look at this close. What? It was by revenue ascending equals false. So descending order. So this is 26, 2671, 20994, and the 27549. I thought by descending by revenue, right? By revenue, ascending equals false. Oh, maybe the pivot and the table in Excel are slightly different because I can tell this is descending order. 20, 27, 26, 26. That's not. Something that looks a little bit funky here, but essentially it did what it was supposed to do. Okay, so I'm just going to close this down. So I'm just trying to do a quick sanity check. Looks okay. Descending order. It is right there. See, so 27, 26, 9, 26, 1. So it did it. Something was a little bit off with that pivot table. But you know what? That is fine. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. I missed a step on the pivot table, I guess. Okay, anyway, so revenue descending order. I think we're good there. I don't even need to save this. It's already been saved down. Okay, so we created the plot in the chart. We created the aggregations. So that looks good. Aggregation by region. So what have we accomplished so far? In Windows, basically, we created an XLSX file from the CSV file. Okay, and we just open it. I just open it and showcase it so you can see exactly what happens. Now we want to insert a VBA module from Python into Excel. So for years and years, at least a decade or so, I did a lot of VBA programming for a bunch of different companies, pretty much all Wall Street, so several different banks. So in the bank environment, people use VBA all day, every day, right? So that's very, very common to do that type of thing. We can get Python to create macros in Excel that we need to run to perform tasks, right? Some type of automation task, something that's redundant, repetitive, done over and over, and it's time consuming and it's prone to error. We want to create a macro to go ahead and do the task for us so somebody doesn't have to do this manually, right? You can do a job manually and it could take you easily 30, 40, 50 hours per week to do this. If it's essentially the same thing over and over and very redundant and repetitive, you can create a macro to do that for you. And maybe the task that used to take 40 plus hours a week maybe can be done in a few minutes, right? I've seen that before. That's very realistic that you can go ahead and take something that's very time consuming, convoluted, and complicated and reduce it to just the essentially just clicking the button and the work is done for you in a few minutes. So here's the XLSM. Remember, XLSX cannot have a macro in it if you try to save it. If you try to save a macro workbook, macro-enabled workbook as XLSX, it is going to strip out the macro and you're going to lose your macro, so be careful with that. With an XLSM, you definitely can have the macro. So here's the original data frame, or sorry, table in Excel that came from the data frame. Here's the aggregation. Here's our dashboard, right? We told Python to create a simple bar chart over here. So we have that. And if I go over here, Alt F11, we should see our macro. The macro is now embedded in here. and that came from right here. So everything between the triple quotes is your macro. If you have to go ahead and copy this from Python, and again, the whole point is you don't want to roll up your sleeves and get dirty with Excel or get busy and get off on some tangent, and it takes a while to create Excel macros. If you copy and paste it in here within the triple quotes, it's going to go directly into the XLSM, the XLSM workbook, right? We open the XLSX and we insert the macro and save it as XLSM. Now we have a macro enabled workbook, okay? So I'm going to close that. So hopefully that makes sense, right? So just to summarize, we started with the data table in Python, right? Pure data table, copied and paste that into a CSV. From the CSV, we created an XLSX, which does not have a macro capability. From that, we created an XLSM, inserted this macro right here into the XLSM workbook. Everything between the triple quotes, I'm not going to save it, is in the macro workbook, saved as XLSM, and we just closed it and saved it. So that's where we are at this point. So we can call the VBA macro from Python. So this is another way to interact with Excel, right? There's so many different ways. At the bottom in my notes, I have a couple different ideas I'm going to share with you guys to do other similar types of things, slightly different from this. So I'm going to open the XLSM workbook, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new sheet called report. So WB is the object workbook. I want to create a new sheet called report, and I want to put a small message into cell A1. This is range A1, and on the same row in the adjacent cells off to the right, I want to put values 1, 2, 3, 4, right? It's just very basic. In the real world, you're never going to do this. Nobody's going to create a sheet called report and put hello and put 1, 2, 3, 4. That's nonsense, right? But I just want to show you just basically how this works. Once you understand the concept, you can put whatever you want in there, right? So let's go back to the XLSM. I can tell that we're done with the CSV. We're done with the XLSX file. We're working specifically on the XLSM file. So if I open that and look at the sheet named report, we'll see the output from Python embedded in that worksheet. So here's my original dashboard, right? That has the plots and the charts. Here was the original data that came from the CSV. We converted this into a table in Excel. We created aggregation, right, based on the region. And now we have a report that says hello from Python, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And again, I know it's kind of a silly example. Nobody's actually going to do this in the business world. Or if you work in government, nonprofit, education, not going to put 1, 2, 3, 4 into cells. I'm just showing you basically how this works. You would put the values into cell that was most relevant to you, right? So whatever kind of research or analytics or data science, machine learning that you're doing in Python, if you want to take that and convert that into an Excel report, this is how you do it, okay? It's not val 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the output from your machine learning model. It's the output from your AI screener or AI decision-making tool or AI recommendation engine or something like that, right? That's what you put in there. So essentially, we can control a whole bunch of things in Excel directly from Python. Okay, we can eliminate pain points of opening Excel, copying and pasting. You don't want to copy paste, okay? You want to take something that's done and just insert that, inject it directly into Excel, right? Make it automatic, make it fast, make it streamlined, right? And eliminate the middleman, eliminate like intermediate processes, right? You do your analysis, take it, save it to Excel. That's all you have to do. So formatting is consistent. You don't have these weird things that like most of it is formatted, or it's formatted mostly one shade of colored and a few cells are different colors. It doesn't happen when you have automation, right? Copy and paste, do the formatting, do your charting, plotting, right? Everything is updated almost instantly. You have reproducible outputs, right? When I look at this code right here, I know what it's doing, right? It's not like somebody on my team took something and created a small report and somebody put hello from Python into cell A1. Maybe they made a mistake and put it into B1. Maybe they made a mistake and put it into A2 or something, right? Maybe somebody made a mistake and put these vowels into another spot in the worksheet. No, that doesn't happen, right? I can look at the code, I can see the logic, I know exactly what's happening. There's no ambiguity here. I know exactly what Python is doing. I know exactly what's going to happen with Excel when Python runs and executes the commands and makes those inserts for those data points into the worksheet, right? So we can actually hook from VBA back to Python to control functionality in Python. If you're in a VBA or you're an Excel person and you're doing a lot of work, you spend all your day in Excel, and you need to interact with Python a little bit. You don't have to close an Excel and then run over here or go somewhere else and open up Python. You can just hook into Python using VBA and control whatever you need. It's directly from Excel. So it's nice to be able to do that. What else do we have? One more example here. So this is, again, looking at the XLSM file that we created before. We are creating XLSWings.bas. If I go ahead and open that file over here, Copilot demo. So I call it Copilot. We're not actually like using real Copilot at this point. I started to look into that, but never really like did a whole lot with the Copilot thing over here. So now we have XLSWings. So this inserts a whole bunch of VBA for us to go ahead and interact with all kinds of functionality in Python, right? So it created all of this UDF code right here. If I copy and paste all of this into a Word file, it's going to be pretty substantial. I haven't even looked at this on Word. Maybe 20, 25 pages of code. It's a lot. It's a lot, guys. So let me see, Control C, Control V, paste that. And I can go to the end. And it looks like we have 83 pages of code, right? So that's a lot of code, right? Just by running a couple of lines of Python code, we create a whole bunch of VBA that we can use to interact back with Python or do other things within Excel. We have 83 pages of VBA code right here, okay? So I'm not going to get into that. It basically takes a dump and gives you pretty much everything you want. You'd have to go through and troubleshoot and see exactly what is relevant to you and what's not relevant. But that comes from XLSWings, and it just takes everything, dumps 83 pages of VBA code into your module, and then you can do all kinds of stuff, right? That might be another training video for another day. I'm not going to get into that now. I'm at 22 minutes already. I want to wrap this up pretty quick. So what else can you manipulate in Excel using Python? Any kind of editing files, filtering, running macros, refreshing, template, mail merge, named ranges, protections and permissions, hyperlinks and buttons, slicers for charts, Power Query, Solver if you're doing optimization, right? Solver is a fantastic tool, tracking changes, performance, jobs, and interoperating with VBA via Python, right? And with Python, I'm sorry, with Excel hooks, you can hook back into Python and control Python from Excel. And obviously, you just saw a bunch of different ways to use Python to manipulate Excel. So this can be very useful in the finance space, FP&A, financial planning and analysis, data science, any kind of ETL, which is extract, transform, and load, automation, machine learning, Copilot, Excel add-ins, and custom apps. You can create all of that. I'm going to go ahead and update the name of this just a little bit because I started to analyze Copilot in this whole scenario, but I didn't actually get around to it. So I'm going to change the name just a little bit. Python Excel for fast workflows with OpenPyXL and XLWings. And let me check, is it actually two S's? No, I misspelled this. Okay, let me fix that. Okay, and I'm going to save this guy right here, rename, file, save as HTML. Okay, I'm going to share all this code with you guys when I post a video later today. You can copy and paste this directly into your Jupyter notebook, run it, and you'll get exactly the same results I have here. The only thing you're going to have to change, and you probably know this, I mean, I don't want to overstate the obvious, this is the path to my desktop, and I put this in a folder called Excel. Right, if I go back here, you'll see the files. Here's the files, and this is the path on my desktop. So users, Ryan, desktop, Excel. If you want just on your desktop, just get rid of this, right? Or rather get rid of this right here if you want just on your desktop. I created a separate folder just to make it a little easier because I have a bunch of files on my desktop. It's a little easier to follow. When I put it in a subfolder, that's the only thing you're going to have to change, guys. Everything else is going to run out of the box. If you have any errors over here, like this, OpenPyXL, if you don't have that, do a pip install, right? Pip install OpenPyXL in your Anaconda prompt. When that's done, everything's going to run. So I just saved the entire code base. All the source code is in HTML. I'll upload that when I put the file up on YouTube later today, and I'll drop the video probably a couple hours. I want to make a couple more videos, and I'll just upload everything one after the other a little bit later this afternoon. So keep an eye out for that. So thanks guys for your time. Appreciate it. Thanks for sticking through to the end. And I'm going to wrap it up right now. And I'll see you guys next video, which I'll drop pretty soon. So keep an eye out for that. Thanks. Bye.